I used to spend my life on the toilet, bloating, cramps, emergency runs. My gut basically resembled a war zone. And then I started carnivore, and for 10 days straight, nothing, nada. It turns out that if you treat your body like a garbage disposal, it treats food like waste. If digestion is a problem for you, constipation, glued to the toilet, or your poop is resembling a haunted marshmallow, then this is a video for you. Hi, if we're just meeting, my name is Claire. I've been a carnivore for 18 months. I've gone from this 287 pounds, bedbound, inflamed, and seriously full of regret, to this 150 pounds, thriving, walking again, and significantly less full of crap. When I first started carnivore, I had 2 weeks of pure diarrhea. It was chaos. I was running to the toilet every 2 seconds. If you started carnivore, you can probably relate to this. I figured my body was detoxing, so I went with it. And then suddenly, after 2 weeks, it went the other way. So I suddenly was not going at all for days and days. And I think it was like a week, maybe 10 days before I actually went. And the weird thing was, I didn't need to go. I just didn't go. I wasn't feeling the pressure. After that, I started adding in butter, because the internet told me add butter, fat will make you go. And boy, does it make you go. So I went back the other way. So I had to monitor that. And also I found that when I was using butter in this way, I became really bloated, and I didn't want that because I was trying to lose weight. So I stopped the butter, and then I went back to constipation again. And that's when I started using magnesium citrate. I'd read that that will help, so I was taking that daily, and for months on end, I was going regularly. After a while, I started going every 3 days, and I thought, well, maybe it's just my normal. Like every 3 days isn't the end of the world, although I would prefer every day. And then eventually I realised the magnesium citrate wasn't working at all. And then out of nowhere, I hit a fat intolerance. The diarrhea came back with a vengeance, and I couldn't understand why. I tried adapting my diet. The one thing that I found to help was cheese. It made me the right amount of regular, and it firmed up my stools, and so I was having a good poop. By the way, in the UK, we don't say poop, we say poo, but I kind of feel that poop is a little bit more delicate, a bit more friendly. So for many months, I stuck to cheese like it was my support animal. And over the months, I was eating more and more of it, and I was getting bloated, and I started to get inflamed. When I stopped the cheese, I went back to the diarrhea again, and then I did a 3-day water fast. And since the 3-day water fast, which was about 3 weeks ago now, I've had no diarrhea. I'm going every 5 to 7 days at the moment. So why your poop changes on carnivore? Well, the first thing is less in means less out. Animal foods are bioavailable. So that means that when you consume them, they get used up by your body as nutrients rather than as waste. So when you're on the SAD diet and you're eating, there's a lot less bioavailability, and so a lot more waste will come out. But with carnivore, everything you are eating gets used up by your body. So what that means in realistic terms is the less residue you have, the smaller, more infrequent poops that you are going to do. It is perfectly normal within the context of a carnivore diet. If you're not going for days on end, it's not the case that you're backed up. It's the case that there's nothing to come out. And a real clue to this is if you don't go for days on end, but you don't feel any pressure, then there is nothing to come out. But if you are not going for days on end and you are feeling pressure, that is a problem and you want to address that. No fibre means no bulk. So most people will associate going daily with being healthy. It is healthy to go daily, once or twice a day, they tell us. But that is only true if you're consuming plant food. Fibre is a non-essential nutrient. It's not even a nutrient because it doesn't get absorbed by the body. Fibre is placed on this pedestal of being the epitome of health for avoiding constipation. But the truth is, in many people, it doesn't stop constipation. It actually causes it. Many people have issues with fibre. Basically, what fibre is doing is it's bulking you up unnecessarily. It's transporting other waste through and giving it some form. So when you are on carnivore and you don't have that, you've got less waste, as we spoke about before, and now you've got even less because you don't have the fibre. So your fat intake can mean delight or disaster. Too much rendered fat, butter, ghee, tallow, those kinds of things can cause a problem if consumed in excess. So I'm not talking about people without a gallbladder. That's a different issue altogether. But if you have an operating gallbladder and you are consuming too much rendered fat, you might come up with problems like I did. It might be the case that the amount of fat that you are consuming will overwhelm the gallbladder. And if bile isn't flowing, then you are going to have diarrhea issues. How do you know if you've got fat malabsorption? Well, you are going to have diarrhea, you're going to have floating stools, and you are going to have bloating. At one point, before I sorted it out, I was even thinking that I would have to come off of carnivore because it was so bad. I just was not absorbing fat very well at all. And if that is you, maybe you want to look at doing an extended fast because it did actually fix it for me. Eggs and dairy are common triggers. They can cause bloating, urgency, even mucus. I know myself when I first started on the carnivore, eggs were a big problem for me. They would bloat my stomach out. I'd be in a lot of pain. And I had to come off the eggs for about 4 months. And then when I reintroduced them, I was okay again. Dairy, on the other hand, with cheeses, I was fine for many months until I was consuming too much of it. And then it started to inflame me and cause problems. It could be the lactose, it could be the casein, it could be histamine. Some people can handle it, some people can't. You just got to find out whether you've drawn the straw or not. I definitely have. I have to be a very clean carnivore in order to have healthy poop. But some people can be a dirty carnivore. Some people can wing it. I'm not one of those people. I was supposed to eat at 2 o'clock. It's now nearly 6 p.m. because I've been filming videos. I'm starving. Talking about food is driving me crazy. Let's talk oxalate dumping because it is a real phenomenon. So oxalates are a compound that are found in multiple plant foods. You get them in cocoa powder, which I used to love. You get them in kale, in spinach, things like that. And if you are coming from a high oxalate diet, as most of us did, and then cutting all of that out very suddenly and becoming a carnivore, then your body is going to start dumping oxalates. Some of the ways you might know if you're oxalate dumping, well, you will know. You will just know. You might get headaches, migraines, you might get rashes, that's a big one, sandy poos, diarrhea. It's unpleasant, but it will pass. And once it does pass, you are going to feel 1,000,000 times better. So let's talk about electrolyte imbalance. Electrolytes are a big thing in the carnivore community, are they not? Everyone and their dog recommends that you use electrolytes. Now, I'm going to hold my hands up and say, a lot of this advice is because of the brand deals that are available. I'm not being sponsored, obviously, by an electrolyte company right now. Electrolytes can be really, really, really beneficial for some people, and some people should use them, but not everyone should. We need a balance of electrolytes in our body, and if that balance is out of whack, then we're going to see issues. But I think it's really important to understand that too high electrolytes can be just as much of a problem as too little. So it can be on carnivore that your electrolytes are low, because unless you add salt and magnesium and sodium, then you're not going to be getting the electrolytes that you need. In theory, you should get it from the meat. It's the human diet. It's what we're designed to eat. So we should get it without electrolytes. And to be honest, until very recently, I never used electrolytes throughout my whole carnivore journey, and I was absolutely fine. So I don't believe everyone needs to be on electrolytes. And in fact, if you go on electrolytes and you were already balanced, then you're going to increase your electrolytes and have too many. So in terms of electrolytes and pooping, if you have low electrolytes, you might find you're constipated. So if you're constipated a lot and the fat is not working and you've tried the citrate, which is an electrolyte, but maybe try an electrolyte mix. I use this one from Bulk, which is really, really beneficial. If you are a consumer of electrolytes and you're having too many, what you might find in terms of your poop is that you have a diarrhea explosion. If you have too much magnesium citrate, then you are going to see explosion. The very first time I took magnesium citrate, so I was telling you that I used to take the supplement. First time, it said on the packet, take 2. So I took 2. Oh my God. Oh my days. It was the worst time of my life. I was on that toilet, detonation central. It wasn't just detonation, but I was in so much pain. I was cramping. I was nauseous. I thought I was going to throw up. I didn't know what was happening with me, actually. But what it was is I'd taken too much to start with. You need to build it up. And if you have got a sluggish gut, your digestion is not going through your body properly, it might be low potassium or low sodium. So you can address that. All right, we've diagnosed the drama. Now we have to unclog it. No plunger necessary. Bob the Builder once again. Yes, we can. First protocol, magnesium glycate. That is calming and gentle on your system. You can also try digestive bitters before your meals, and that will help you process things. Raw liver cubes. I don't know if you're brave enough for this one. I'm certainly not. But raw liver cubes can re-stimulate your bile flow, which is going to correct everything downstairs. You could try a gentle gut massage. I do this sometimes. It can be helpful. I find castor oil actually really beneficial. If you put castor oil in your belly button and leave it for 20 minutes and then rub it all over your stomach, if you've got a hot water bottle, then you can put that over it and it should stimulate things to get moving. I should add that these are things that you do if you're constipated and you are feeling the pressure. If you have just not gone and you feel no pressure, then none of this will work. Also, in terms of your diet, try more fatty cuts of meat. I always go for a ribeye, and when I'm getting my ribeye, I look for a nice piece of fat within that ribeye steak. And if you do that and have less melted fat, so like fat that you might render from mince or ground meat, then you might have a better flow. So let's talk diarrhea fixes. We're going to the other end of the spectrum now. You want to cut out rendered fats and dairy. Dairy is one that causes constipation in some, diarrhea in others. So this is adaptable to what works for your body. For me, if I eat beef dripping, my diarrhea is really bad. If I use goose fat, it's not. So there's a difference there. So to fix your diarrhea as well, you want to eat fatty cuts of meat and not rely on added fat. Pull back on adding fat to your meals. You can take an ox bile supplement or a Tuga, Tudca, and those supplements will assist your bile flow and firm things up. You can also try using gelatin and collagen to firm you up. I do consume collagen on a daily basis anyway, but I have used gelatin at times to firm myself up. Just got to be careful you don't have too much because you can become constipated with it as well. If you like to eat eggs, then maybe undercooking them slightly is going to give you better digestion. The last one is to chew slowly. A lot of us who have been obese have issues with eating slowly. I know that I've always eaten really fast and I have to be mindful to eat slowly. At the end of the day, if your poop is running late for a meeting, slow your fork down first. If this video has saved you one toilet flush, then hit subscribe down below. If you want to support my next batch of collagen or liver, no, not liver, I'm not touching liver, maybe kidneys. Kidneys is my thing at the moment, I'm eating kidneys. Then I do have a coffee account and I promise you, I will not spend it on fibre. So let's reframe what is a normal rate to go on carnivore. So when you're on the SAD diet, you will go once a day, twice a day, multiple times a day. Before I moved over to carnivore, I was probably going 4 or 5 times a day and never finishing the job, if you know what I mean. It's been a revelation actually. At this point, I'm very happy with my pooping schedule. So when we think about frequency, we have to think about it in the context of a carnivore diet, because on the SAD diet, every day is healthy. So if you are doing 1 to 2 poops per week, then that will be perfectly normal. It's really important that you understand your own body and understand what is normal for you. For me, currently, I'm going every 5 to 7 days, and that might be too long for you. Just listen to your body. Let's talk about quality over quantity. So as I stated that when I was on the SAD diet, I was going 4 times a day and I wasn't finishing off. It was mushy, I'm sorry, TMI, but it was. And I even went to the doctor at one point because I felt something wasn't right. But on carnivore, there's no straining, there's no urgency. When I go, it is firm, it's a good, solid poo, and there's very little cleanup afterwards. And I am very happy. That's like as close to perfection as you could get. Would I like to go every day? Yes, I would. Even if I don't, when I do go, there's not much drama about it at all. Basically, you need to listen to your signals. So if you are getting cramping, you have any kind of pain, discomfort, you've got the diarrhea, you've got the constipation, you've got urgency, you need to track your meals. It's very likely to be, well, it will be an issue of what you're consuming. Look at it this way, your gut is not trying to ruin your life. It's just throwing a tantrum because you took its junk away. If you see this, you have fat malabsorption. This just means your body is not absorbing fat properly. You need a supplement or a 3-day fast. Let me know if you are going to do one of those. Your poop doesn't lie. It might whisper, it might scream, but it always tells you the truth. On carnivore, it finally stops screaming most of the time. If you're still confused or fascinated by your digestive crime scene, then watch this video next, because it is the things that nobody tells you that happens to you after you go on a carnivore diet.